is wrap up this handout, okay? So we're going to finish messing with some conversions, and then on Friday I'm going to go over this worksheet. So I'd like you to at least try this before Friday. And then I'm just going to show you a couple little temperature conversions that are really nice to go back and forth between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So then on Friday, you will have an oh wow. Well, technically it's not an oh wow. You'll have your review, which I'm calling an oh wow. It will be posted on Blackboard. So if you don't have a printer, you don't need to panic. You can just do the answers on a separate sheet of paper if you want. But it might, if you do have a printer, I would print it because it would probably be a little bit more easy for you to follow, especially with the when I give you the key. But that will be due on Monday. So you'll have a no calculator and a calculator apart that you're going to open up on Friday and submit that before Monday or before class time on Monday, and then I'll post the key. So let me know if you have any questions. I've been talking with Cheryl on Zoom. I hope you guys can join me on Zoom sometime. And she said I go too fast. So I'm going to try to go really slow for this video, and then I'm going to talk to Cheryl and see if I went slower, if I did better. So we talked about unit fractions, and a unit fraction is a way to disguise what 1 is. So for example, we said 4 over 4 is equal to 1 because you have the same amount on the top as you do on the bottom. Well, these unit fractions, we're going to use the fact that 16 ounces equals 1 pound to make a 1. So I can go 16 ounces over 1 pound equals 1. Or I can put the 1 pound on the top and the 16 ounces on the bottom and call that 1. Right? If you have the same amount on the top as you do on the bottom, it's just equal to 1. And that's why they're called unit fractions, because a 1 is a unit. And you can do that with pounds to tons, right? If 2,000 pounds is 1 ton, then that should equal 1. If we put 1 ton on the top and 2,000 pounds on the bottom, that also equals 1. All right, so let's practice with some conversions. I'm going to go over the steps again. The first step is the easiest step. You just take what you're given and put it over 1. You take what you're given and you put it over 1. And then you're going to multiply by a fraction. And that fraction is going to equal 1. But the 1's going to be in disguise. So we're converting from pounds to tons. So this is the conversion we're going to use to help us with that. So the directions were what you want to get rid of. We want to get rid of pounds. That's going to go on the bottom. Because if you have the same label on the top as you do on the bottom, then those can cancel. And what you want to be left with needs to go on the top. So we want to be left with tons. And now you just look at the chart and fill in the answers. See, this is where I miss being in class, because then I would go around the room and then I would say, Blaine, what do you got? Where am I going to put in these numbers? So Blaine would say the 2,000 hooks with the pounds, so that goes on the bottom, and the 1 goes with the tons, so that goes on the top. And then, well, I'm pulling out my calculator. Then we're going to cancel the pounds. So do you see we're just left with tons? And if you need to do it as a fraction, go for it. We have 9,000 over 1 times 1 over 2,000. So it looks like we have 4.5 tons. All right, I'm just going to try another one, and then you've got to try 2, the bottom 2. First step, everyone should get this. It's easy. You just write out what you're given and put it over 1. And then you're going to multiply it by a fraction. So I want to get rid of pounds, so that goes on the bottom. And I want to be left with ounces, so that's going to go on the top. What the units you want to be left with go in the numerator. So I want to get rid of pounds. Do you see I can cancel pounds on the top with pounds on the bottom? and I want to be left with ounces, so ounces is going at the top. And then you've got to come up here, and I'm going to give you all this. You guys don't have to memorize any of these. You're going to come up here and look at the numbers. So the 16 goes with the ounces, and the 1 goes with the pounds. Pounds cancel, and then you multiply. Do you see, since they're both over 1, you could just go 3 times 16. So I'm going to pull out my calculator and go 3 times 16. So it looks like I've got 48 ounces and 3 pounds. So 48 ounces and 3 pounds. All right, so pause the video. Take a pause, and then do these two, and then come back. Okay, take a pause, just stop it, and then come back. All right, let's see how you did. So step number 1, write what you're given, and then multiply by a fraction. You want to get rid of tons and be left with pounds. Do you see the tons cancel? All right, now we got to fill in. Now we got to come upstairs and find where it has tons and pounds and fill in the numbers. So the 1 goes on the bottom and the 2,000 goes on the top, because the 2,000 gets hooked up with the pounds. And then pull out your calculator. You ready? So 3.5 times 2,000. Did you guys get 7,000? And that's going to be in pounds. All right, let's try this one. See how you did. So you got 40 ounces over 1. And we're going to multiply that by a fraction. Okay, so we want ounces on the bottom and pounds on the top, because we want to be left with pounds. And then fill in the numbers. So you got to look up at the top here. So there's 16 ounces in 1 pound. So the 16 is going to get hooked up with the ounces and the 1 pound. So ounces cancel. Now I don't have 1s on the bottom everywhere, so now I'm going to use my calculator. So you've got 40 over 1 times 1 over 16. So you could put 5 over 2 pounds if you don't like the fraction. Remember I talked about this change key. If you have this key, if you hit enter, it'll change it to a decimal. I hit the double triangle, that's change, right? So see if you can see it. So if I hit that again, it changes it back to the fraction. See the double triangle? That triangle is delta, means change. So change. All right. So that's the section on units of weight. So that's section 9.5. This is capacity. This is 9.6. And there's really nothing different to it. It's all the same thing. They're the same process. It's just a different chart. So you can make unit fractions. Let's make one for this. Let's do the quarts and gallons. So 4 quarts is the same as 1 gallon. So I have the same value on the top as I do as the bottom. So that's equal to 1. Right? Or you could do gallons on the top and quarts on the bottom, and that equals 1, right? So there's not a huge difference from what we were doing the past couple videos. All right, so let's look at it. Now everyone knows what a gallon is. We have to buy milk in gallon jugs. I've got 3 teenagers at home right now, so you're drinking a lot of milk. So a gallon, that's what we've been buying. I used to buy half gallons, not anymore. And you guys know what a measuring cup is. And then a pint of milk is just a little pint. And the quart's kind of stuck in between. I always think of milk when I think of pints and quarts. All right, you ready? So we got this. Let's do this. So step number 1, write what you're given. We're given 152 ounces, and remember you put it over 1, and then you multiply by a fraction. Okay? So now we want to have cups left. So that goes on the top, and what you want to get rid of goes on the bottom. Oh, that was a funky ounce. All right. And now you have to go to a chart to fill in the numbers. So do you see where there's ounces to cups? Right here, 8 ounces in 1 cup. All right, so 8 goes on the bottom, 1 goes on the top, and now we're ready. So I've got 152 over 1 times 1 over 8. So pull out your calculator, plug that in, and then hit enter. Did you guys get 19 cups, right? Because the ounces canceled. 19 cups? All right, let's try another one. Why don't you guys try this? I bet you could do this, and then we'll do the 2-steppers together. Okay? So go ahead, pause the video and try it. All right. So hopefully you did this. You wrote 2.5 gallons over 1. And then you're going to multiply by a fraction. We want to get rid of gallons and be left with quarts. And then you have to look up here. So find the line that has quarts to gallons. It's over here. We already did these, quarts to gallons. And then just fill in the missing pieces. We did it right here. In 1 gallon, there's 4 quarts. And then you pull out your calculator. So 2.5. I mean, you can do it over 1. I'm hoping you can just see you have to multiply the numerators. But if you want to set up as a fraction each time, go for it. So the gallons canceled, and then we're left with 10 quarts. All right, now the other two, I call them these 2-steppers. So, and I'll warn you if it's a 2-stepper, and I'm letting you know now, it's a bonus. It's going to be a bonus on the test, the 2-step problems, okay? It's going to be a little bonus. So if it's a 2 steps, when you write the 30 over 1, and I say it's a 2-step problem, that means you're going to have 2 fractions. Because if you look at your chart, you can't go directly from cups to quarts. Look up at your chart, right? The only thing you can do is cups to pints. So we're going to go cups to pints and then pints to quarts. So do you see how it's a 2-stepper? All right. So from the chart, I can go cups to pints, and then I can go from pints, get rid of the pints, and be left with quarts. Right? The chart has 2 cups, you can see my finger up here, 2 cups to 1 pint, and then I can do 2 pints to 1 quart. Do you see the trail? So let's just look at, see if the units cancel. I have cups on the top, cups on the bottom, those will cancel, pints on the top, pints on the bottom. So do you see I'm left with quarts? So let's fill in the numbers. So I'm looking up here, you can see kind of up there on your paper, I bet. The 2 goes with the cups and the 1 goes with the pints. And pints to quarts, there's 2 pints in 1 quart. So you can do a 3 trail on your calculator. At least you can do 3 fractions times 1 over 2 times 1 over 2. So go ahead and try that. I'm not going to hit enter until you get a chance to plug it in. See, Cheryl, I'm trying to be slower. Give you time to pull stuff out, plunk and chunk. All right, and then hopefully you got that in. Hit enter. If you like it, you just look at My Math Lab to see how they want it. If they want it as a fraction, then this is what your answer would be. If they want it as a decimal, remember you've got the change key. Just hit enter on your calculator and it'll change it to a decimal. If you're using a calculator like this guy, which I know a lot of you have, so you'd go 30 over 1 times 1 over 2 times 1 over 2, and they give it to you as 7 1/2. If you want to convert it to a decimal, you'll have a fraction to a decimal key. Do you see it right there? I'm pointing at it with my pen. It's in yellow, so you have to hit the second key first, and then that key that you want. So do you see it says fraction to decimal? And that'll give you as 7 1/2. Okay, so the calculators have these keys on it that'll change it back and forth for you. The F to D. It's right above the PRB key. It's in yellow, so you have to hit the yellow key first. All right, cups, gallons to cups. Okay, ready? So I'm telling you, they're two-steppers. So you've got 10 gallons over 1. And then we're going to do our bunny trail. I think we might actually need another one. Hold on, I think it's a 3-bagger. I'll tell you though. I would never put it on there and not tell you how many steps you have to take. So first of all, we can go from gallons to quarts, and then we can go. Look at the top. Then you go from quarts to pints, and then you're going to go pints to cups. All right, we got this. You ready? So we're going to go from gallons to quarts. Okay, and then I can go from quarts to pints, and then I can go from pints to cups. All right, my son is making noise in the background. Sorry about that, if you can hear it. So we've got 1 gallon can make 4 quarts. Do you see I'm just filling in the numbers? Quarts to pints, you've got 1 quart will make 2 pints. I'm just looking at my chart. I'm just looking up at the top here. And then I've got 1 pint can make 2 cups. So let's see if our units cancel. All right, let's check it out. So our gallons on the top will cancel gallons on the bottom. Our quarts on the top cancel with quarts on the bottom. And our pints on the top cancel with pints on the bottom. And then we're left with cups. Woohoo! We did it. Now look at all those ones on the bottom. So we really don't have to put fractions if they're all ones. So 10 times 4 times 2 times 2. I'm going to wait so you can get that in. And then, did you guys get 160? 160 cups. So it's a lot. I mean, 10 gallons of milk is a lot of milk. So there would be a lot of cups in that. So that's it for that section. Yeah. That is it for section 9.6. So we just have one more section to go. We're just going to do 9.7. Okay? We'll do 9.7, and then I'll probably, for the extra practice, I'll make another video. We'll stop it because I know this one's getting a little longer. So this is the only section left, and it's going back and forth between U.S. measurements and metric. Right? It's nice to know to go back and forth between inches and centimeters. Remember I talked about the meters and the yardstick, or kilometers to miles, right? In this country, we don't run miles if you run a race. You talk about running 5Ks, and we're going to do that down here. Or so it's funny, like you either run a 5K or if you do a marathon, you run 26.2 miles. So it's funny how we mark them when people sign up for races. So we talked about a centimeter being the width of your pinky nail. If you have the batteries in your calculator, if you have a calculator like this one, they take the AAA. This is my son's calculator. So the AAA batteries in there, that's also a centimeter. So if you have a AAA battery laying around, that's about a centimeter. And then the width of a credit card is a millimeter. It's really teeny. All right, so if you run a marathon, 26.2 miles is a marathon. And they want to know kilometers, so let's do it. So we've got 26.2 miles on the top over 1. And we're going to change that to kilometers. Oh, I wish I could call on you guys. So I'd say, what do we want to put on the bottom? And you guys would say, we want to get rid of miles, so that's got to go on the bottom. And we want to be left with kilometers, so that's got to go on the top. And then I would say, Natasha, fill in the numbers for me. So then Natasha would say, well, up here it says 1 kilometer, so the 1 goes with the kilometer, and 0.62 goes with the miles. I wish we were together doing this together, everyone. so the miles will cancel. So we have 26.2 over 1 times 1 over 0.62. Now this is going to give you a decimal, like a funky decimal. And so when you're on MyMathLab, it'll tell you what they want you to round it to. So they might say to the nearest 1 decimal. So if they said round it to the nearest 1 decimal, that's 1 decimal, 1 number after the decimal point. So would we want to keep the 2 or make it higher? So we always go to the right. Since it's a 5, we're going to make that higher. So if you want to run a marathon, you're going to be running 42.3 kilometers. If you run a 5K, which is pretty popular, you know, you see a lot of organizations running 5Ks for a fundraiser. How many miles are you running? So let's take what we're given, put it over 1, and then multiply it by a fraction. So we want to get rid of kilometers and be left with miles. All right, put the 1 with the kilometers, the 0.62 with the miles. Pull out our calculator. Kilometers cancel, which is nice. This is all 1 on the bottom. I'm not going to make my fraction. So look, if you run a 5K, you run 3.1 miles. That's what a 5K is. All right, so pause it. Give a pause, and then do these 2. All right? Pause it out, and then give those 2 a try. All right, here we go. So the steps are always the same. We've got 5 meters over 1. And we want to convert that to yards. Right? So we just got 1 fraction. So meters have got to go on the bottom. Yards is going to go on the top. So look up. I can't see it on my paper, but I bet you if you look up, you see 1m is that little squiggle. This means is approximately. That means approximately. All right. So 1 meter is about 1.09 yards. Meters cancel. I will put my calculator. Go ahead, put in 5 times 1.09 because all the bottoms are 1, so we really don't need the fraction. Did you get 5.45 yards? Okay, let's see how you did with this one. So you've got 10 yards over 1, right? So take your time, do that first step. You just write what you're given over 1 times some mystery fraction. All right, so you want to get rid of yards. So that's got to go on the bottom. And you want to be left with meters. So that's got to go on the top. All right, let's fill it in. So 1.09 yards is 1 meter. You guys see that the yards are going to cancel? All right, so pull out your calculator, what you got. So I don't have 1s on the bottom for everything, so I'm going to actually type in my fraction, and I'm going to round it to 1 decimal. So here's my 9 point, and then after 1 number after the decimal. So do I keep the 1 or make it higher? Well, that 7 says make it higher, right? There you go, 9.2 meters. All right, so let's just do these last 2, and then I'm going to stop the video. And I want you guys to practice it, and then on Friday, I will post the answers to these, okay? So I will post the answers to these on Friday, but let's finish this 2 up. So these are off of MyMathLab, so this is kind of what the MyMathLab will give you for conversions. So you have to search for it. Now sometimes you'll see there's more than 1. It doesn't matter which one you use, you're going to get pretty close to the same answer. It might be off by a decimal. It doesn't matter which one you use. So let's try this one. So 6 gallons to liters. All right, so just pick one. It doesn't matter which one you want. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. All right, so let's just pick one. You ready? So I know I need gallons on the bottom, and I know I want liters on the top. So you can either use this one or this one. It doesn't matter. Here, I'll just use the first one. You ready? So 1 liter is 0.26 gallons. Right? The 1 goes with the L, and the 0.26 goes with the gallons. Gallons cancel. Let's see how you did. So 6 over 1 times, I'm going to give you a second, so I promised I'd slow down. Give you a second to get that into your calculator. Okay. So it looks like about 23.1 liters. So if you use the other conversion, it would be really close to that. And my math lab's very forgiving. It doesn't care which, and I don't care which one you use either. All right, let's try this one. Convert 5 2-liter bottles of soda. So if you have 5 2-liter bottles, how many liters do you have all together? I have 5, and they're each 2 liters. Does it make sense that I have 10 liters all together? And this is over 1. All right, so this is where I'd ask Hannah and Ethan to help me. So we want liters on the bottom and gallons on the top. And then I would make Tommy pick which one he wants to use. It doesn't matter which one. If Tommy said, I want to use the top one again, then we can just use the top one. If Tommy said, let's use the bottom one, then we use the bottom one. It doesn't matter. They're the same conversions. All right, we'll just stick with the top one. So we've got 1 liter is 0.26 gallons, right? This time we have liters on the bottom because we want to get rid of liters. And we want to be left with gallons. So those are on the top. And then just plot your calculator. We got all those ones on the bottom, so I really don't need the fractions. I can save myself the fraction grief. So did you guys get 2.6 gallons? All right, so I'm going to stop the video here. It probably will have to be 2 different videos, but I'm going to stop the video here. And then I want you guys to try before Friday the extra practice, this and then this sheet that you have. And then on Friday, I'm going to go over these. So try them first, and then we'll go over them, okay? So you'll have this posted on Friday, just for practice, and then I will let you know that you are also going to have your practice for the test. We're not going to have the test until they tell us we can come back, but that's going to be your oh wow for the week, all right? So shoot me a question through Remind, or we can see each other face to face in a room Zoom if you have a question, or Zoom room. Just let me know, all right? I hope everyone's feeling good and you're healthy and happy, and hopefully we will see each other soon, all right? Take care.